Hi, everybody. It's me, Charles Norman, Sports Solutions, LLC. We are the creators of AthleticSOS. I'll tell you a little bit more about that at the end of the video. In this one, I want to talk a little bit about all of the efforts that are being made both at the youth sports level, the high school level, and then even the collegiate level, which has been in the news lately for the last few years. And so let's start at the collegiate level, because I want parents to understand what kind of situation it really is versus what the headlines are saying. So at the collegiate level, last few years, we've had Supreme Court rulings, right, in favor of the athletes. We've had the House versus NCAA settlement, which really helped out the collegiate athletes and provided some equity and some revenue, the sharing of the revenue, the name, image, and likeness situation, the transfer portal in the last few years. All these things have been in favor of the athlete. While the champagne bottles are being popped and the balloons are flying and floating, it feels good. There's a few more lawsuits that are coming that may make things a little bit better. But while everybody's looking over there, and this is the important piece to me, is that there is in Congress has gotten involved in this. So the NCAA is losing all of these battles over here. The colleges, the athletic departments are losing all these battles over here. They've got to share, right, and let things be a little bit more equal. And in the meantime, they've been working with Congress to come up with a way to nullify 90% of it. And so there is in the House of Representatives right now, there is the SCORE Act. You guys look it up, S-C-O-R-E. I don't remember everything that it was all about, but it is going to decimate all of those wins. And there's only a couple of lines in there that were needed. If you read it, it sounds like it's a great thing for the athletes. But they put a couple of clauses in there, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in depth, but that's not why I wanted to do this video today. But the SCORE Act is going to wipe out 90% of that other stuff because it will be a congressional ruling. Right now, it's only in the House of Representatives, hasn't even got over to the Senate. I don't even think they've finished in the House of Representatives, but it's moving, and it's moving fast. So that's something to think about. You've done all this work, and it can be undone just like that. And while you're over there celebrating and thinking this is the changing of the guard, it's not. And it's going to have to do with a cap on what the college athletes can bring in revenue. And so that is the key. That's what all the fighting was all about. So that is there. Now let's go to the youth sports. And youth sports for me, I say, is from age 5 to age 12, that area. So 5 to 9, there has been a real renaissance, grassroots, national coalitions and consortiums and nonprofits, and all of these people are trying to get together to kind of fix youth sports from what it used to be when we were kids, right? When they were kids. It's just supposed to be for fun and recreation and not so much selfishness, that you're a team player or that you have good sportsmanship and that everyone feels welcome and involved and gets an opportunity to participate. All of those things. And these are all great efforts and they should be carried out. But it doesn't work, and it has never worked. People have been doing this forever since I was a little kid. It's always been these organizations that will pop up that move in that direction. Hey, we're going to make this better. We're going to make it fair, more equitable, things like that. And the reason that doesn't work at that age group is, first, the separation takes place between age 5 and 9. And between age 5 and 9, the better athletes start moving away from the rec sort of area of it, the free-for-all. And now you become, and you can't stop that because parents that have the good kids, they're not going to play by your rules over here if it stagnates their kid. They're not going to do it. The parent has too much control. And then adults being adults, they're going to peel off. If they have a good kid, they're going to get other parents with good kids, and they're moving. And once that separation happens, you can't make a parent come in and follow these other rules over here. And now there's more national organizations. The professional sports teams are starting to create their own youth leagues to try to get back to what everybody kind of wants to happen. But it doesn't work. And here's why it doesn't work for real. There's two reasons. One was the first one I was telling you. The parents with the most talented kids are going to move on, and other kids will drop off, period, from sports. That's why they always say by age 12, most kids stop playing at the youth sports level. And they think it's because it's burnout or it's not fun anymore and all that stuff. It's just that the separation happened and now you're going into high school. And so most of the kids aren't going to make the high school team, and they just stop playing. It's just they keep playing sports, but they don't play in an organized manner. So I think that's always misleading. But the reason it doesn't work is because the transitory nature of youth sports. when you're a parent, your kid doesn't stay in one place long enough for you to get mad enough to join some organization, because you need the people to fight with you. You can't just do it as an organization. And the other thing is that the organizations themselves, the bigger, the more strength that they get, they become part of the system. They're part of the infrastructure now. Money starts rolling in, donations. Maybe you get some money from a government program, some youth activity or sports money comes in from the Department of Education. All this money starts rolling in, and now you've got more levels to your organization, and then it doesn't work anymore. It's too many people in too many different areas, and sports is local. Maybe regional a little bit, but it's mostly local. Even the regional or the national organizations that have different local areas or pieces of them, they get watered down to whatever is needed in that area. They have the power. And so now you got these commissions and these boards and all this kind of stuff, and the talented kids, their families aren't going for it. So you can never get enough motion to make it work. And then you become one of the nonprofits. You're working good. A lot of people are making good money at it, but it's not changing anything. You can change a few rules, tweak a few things here and there. But the overall spirit, I think what people are trying to do is make youth sports more of a fun, moving through, just a good time for the kids to be able to enjoy themselves and get out there, get some exercise, learn the sport, and become lifelong athletes, right? They love playing the game, and they'll be playing well into their adult age. That's kind of the goal of youth sports, to make sure everybody gets a chance, and at bat, gets to take a shot, gets to handle a ball, gets to do whatever it is. They get to participate. And you can't make that happen in sports, because sports by its nature is going to separate the kids. Now, the other kids should be able to play, but they won't be playing where the really talented kids are. Their parents will not let it happen. And it happens so fast. Every few years, you're moving to the next age group. And so you never get to fight over here, because now you're over here. You got a new fight to start, and you'll be through with that before you know it. And so it's not meant to be that way. So I want to make this message for parents. And the reason I'm doing this, all of it, that's why I started with the collegiate and the youth, is because of a couple of kids that played high school sports that things did not go their way so far. And so one of the kids was a really good player, one of the best players on their team as a sophomore and junior. They just were a shoo-in. They were going to play at the collegiate level, probably at the Division I level. And then they got injured in their junior year, and the injury was severe enough to where they didn't even early in the junior year, they were out, and they didn't get back until mid of their senior year. It was that long, over almost a year. And they came back, and then they were anxious. They wanted to get back to that superstardom. But the team has sort of moved on from them, right? Even though they were probably still the best player, a little bit hesitant out there because of the injury. You don't want to get hurt again, but you want to make a splash. So they came back just sort of playing a little bit selfish. And then so them and the head coach kind of got into it a little bit, and things just went the wrong way really quickly. And the kid ended up being put off the team. They only came in mid-season already, and the coach was just like, I'm not putting up with this, and then put the kid off the team. And the kid's devastated about this. Now, the good thing for this kid was later on, they got a chance to play after the season. A few all-star things came up, a few senior-only tournaments came up, and they were able to participate in that, and they had gotten their groove back. And so they had gotten interest from a couple of D1 level schools who were interested in them. And then all of a sudden, it kind of went away. And so the parents for this kid called, one of the coaches that seemed like they were really into him and said, hey, what happened? We're not sure what's going on. Our kid wants to, is getting enrolled. What do I need to tell them? How do they move forward? And then that coach which was the recruiting coach for it, not the head coach, but the recruiting coach, told them, hey, we kind of have our roster already. And I'm not sure what happened at your high school, but when the head coach called the high school coach, it didn't go that well. And so it's devastating for that kid, right? And so it looks like, but what that recruiting coach did say is, we do have open tryouts. It's going to be tough though, but they're more than willing to try to come out. And so the parents came to me and asked me, and I gave them some advice on things the way I would do it. And I don't want to go into that right now because it was an individual situation. What happened, it was just a little bit different. The second one, there was a player who was really just salt of the earth, just a really good kid, great grades, great attitude, played really, really well from the freshman time point. And they were on varsity by sophomore, and just a really good, just a great kid. But their parents were so into this they were going to direct this kid's life. And they wanted them to, this needs to happen, this needs to happen, this needs to happen, so you can get to that school over there, and your life is going to be mapped out, and this is what you're going to be for a profession. They line things up that way. And so they always were in the coach's world. That my kid needs to start, they need to have this many opportunities while they're starting, and the kid fit that mold. Everything's going fine. But then the head coach moved. That head coach that they had for the first couple of years was gone. A new coach came in, and the parents are still trying to guide, but this new coach played a different way. They had a different style. Their child was going to be able to play, but they would not be the star based on how this new switch was being made. And so they are trying to bully this coach again. They're coming in, and the coach just wasn't having it. And that coach needs to set a pattern that I'm the coach, to let everybody else know you're not going to come and tell me what to do. And I'm brand new here, so I'm going to set the tone for how we move, which is their right to do. But these parents, they always win. They've been winning since elementary school, probably preschool. And so they're going to the AD, and then they go into the principal, and they're just making, just going overboard on everything. And so their kid stayed on the team. They did not get kicked off. This kid's just a great kid. It wasn't going to get kicked off. But what ends up happening is that they're not getting the offers for collegiate, and they don't know why. And again, it came down to, they finally figured out that head coach told them what a headache, and I don't know if they said, because I'm not on the phone call or I'm not talking with them, but are they saying that the kid is a problem, the parents are a problem? Because usually collegiate coaches don't really care what the parents, because that kid becomes an adult when they go to college. But the offers dried up. They just didn't get any offers. So it could be that, they're difficult, or the high school coach was just being a little bit vindictive, right? They're human beings like everyone else. And so the reason I'm telling these two stories is that beating the system, I don't know why everybody gets this in their head. The idea is not to defeat or beat the system or the infrastructure for the system and all of that, because you need the system to be there so you can participate in the first place. Those people have to, make sacrifices in their life to keep the system running. The coaches, the leagues, the high school program. High school coaches don't make any money off of being a high school coach. They're there. They're giving their time in. Yeah, there's some egos involved, but you're not here long enough to beat that system. Maybe you can get the high school coach fired for some reason. I don't know. But what is the point? You're going through there. Other kids are coming behind you. You need the system in place. So it's very, very difficult to win there. At the collegiate level, it's even going to be a little bit more different. You only have 4 years, maybe 5 you get injured or you redshirt or something like that. But you're moving through. Somebody's coming right behind you. So I guess I'm not arguing against trying to make things right. And I think you should do that. What I am arguing is that you, as an individual athlete, as a parent, what you're trying to get out of youth sports is completely different. You're trying to make that journey, all of those years that you're putting in, all that money, all those practices, all those games, all that traveling, all of that, you need to put that to use. That is your superpower for your kid. Make use of the access that you get being an athlete, work in your kid's favor. So that's what I mean by, when you're going to these different places, go do something that fits who your kid is. Do you know your kid? Go do things around there. I don't care what they are. You know who your kid is. Find some other activities, or get them understanding some things that are going in other places. They're going all across the country. They're going all across their state. They're going all across their city. They're meeting other people. Get them to get involved with some other people. Get them to give back as a really good athlete. Who else can you have? Get them leadership qualities. Okay, you're going to be the captain of the team. What does that mean? Or you're the best player in the team. Maybe you're not the captain, but everybody looks to you to set the tone for the team. These are the things that they're going to learn how to do. The access you get for being an athlete is unprecedented for anything else that you're doing. Anything academic, anything with other talents, music, whatever. You're getting access by being the best in your little area, and then other people are looking up to you. These are great assets to have. And so if you focus on that, you focus on your kid becoming the best kid they can be, the better athlete that you want them to keep improving, and that the fact that people are trying to, and I say this about sports all the time, it is the only thing your kid's going to do where someone is physically trying to defeat them. And so that builds up something that nothing else they can do. I don't care if it's their education, how smart they are, they play a musical instrument, if they're really great in math or science or tech or any of those things. Nobody's trying to defeat you. They're trying to help you. They're trying to help you improve. But in sports, when you get out there in the competition, somebody wants you defeated. They want at the end of the day that you did not win, that they did. And so that is the difference. And that's why sports is so important. But the future for youth sports, for high school sports, for collegiate sports is moving towards bigger and bigger organizations. Money is trickling down. It's moved from the professionals to college. If you really think about it, college sports, if you can get there and you're a superstar, you could make enough money where if you don't go pro, you still did pretty well. You've got a nest egg now that you can build off of. If you're in high school sports, you can start building your own social media off of your talents. And then now by the time you get to college, that you've already got a following, and whatever is going on with the NIL or the revenue share and all that stuff that's going on, you don't even have to be D1 at that point. People want to follow your story because you built up that connection early. And then with youth sports, it's the training at the youth sports level is going to grow because money is going to pour in. The separation is going to happen even faster. If your kid has a talent in a sport, and I will die on a hill on this one, that every single kid, there is a sport in which they can play at the collegiate level that they are absolutely good at, that it's a natural fit for them. If you can find that sport for your kid, you win. They will do fine. And they can play other sports too, but there is a sport for every single kid that they can excel in, that they're better than most of the peers around them. So try to find that sport. I know there's about 34 or 35 of them. So there's something there for you. But my overall goal is let the journey along with the participation walk together. And if you get that balance right, you won't be perfect at it, but if you get it close enough, you will be fine. Your kid will flourish. I promise. Sports will allow them to flourish. So don't walk away from sports if your kid is talented because you're looking at something else. This will be an and to them playing the game. I hope I'm making sense with this. But those two things that happened this past year really kind of took me aback because I know everyone thinks that they can force their way, especially if you've been a good athlete that whole time. You think this is your last hurrah. Everybody gets this short time span thing, and they don't really realize how quick it happens. And so you get a little bit desperate by your junior year, but in your senior year, you're really kind of desperate because was it all for nothing? Was it a waste of time? Did I spend all that money for nothing? We're not getting anything out of it. No, you get stuff out of it as you go through it. You should be able to say at age 17, 18, senior year, no matter what happens from here, that was a great run. I'm glad I did it. I'd do it all over again. If you got that, you won. You won the game. So I don't know. I may be overdoing all of this stuff, but I just want you guys to enjoy it. I want people to participate. I want things to go the way all of these organizations are trying to fix it for youth sports, for high school sports, for collegiate sports. I really want them to win. I just think when a system gets too big, when there's too much money in it, and you're too focused on it, you will lose at the end because you're over here fighting, and they're over here undoing all your wins over there. It's just, I don't know that it's for an individual family to get too caught up in. You just try to make sure that your kid plays the game the right way, where they're going to win in the end because of the experience, because of the access, because of the people that they meet. They're going to take that along with them as they move forward, the lessons they learn being a good athlete or even being an average athlete that has been in that world. You're going to take those people as you move forward, and you guys are going to have to come together. Our kids, my grandkids now, are going to have to take those people that they met there, the people that they'll meet in college, the people they'll meet early in their life, and they're going to have to go out and do what we had to do, get a job and do all that cool stuff. But they're going to have to do something on the side, and they're going to need some people to work with them. And those are going to be people they came up with if they play the game the right way. That those people are going to be remembering them and say, hey, I want these people with me for this project I'm about to do. Or I'm going to open up this business, or we're going to go into this, or we're going to do that. I want them with me. That is the way their life is going to have to run. It's not about how smart you are, how many degrees and certificates you have, how good of a person you are, all of that. The world does not need that many workers anymore. That's just the future. And so you have to do better than that. What do you see? And I'm going to talk about all this stuff as we move forward. Now, AthleticSOS. So AthleticSOS is absolutely free for you to use. If your kid is trying to get an athletic scholarship, you absolutely want to use our software. And so what it's going to do is going to take their academic information, the sport they play, the level they believe they can play at the collegiate level, and it's going to give them a list of schools they academically qualify to attend that have that sport and offer scholarship opportunities. And so if you look down below, I give you a code. There's instructions for how to use the code, and then there's a brief video that kind of gives you what it looks like if you're going to use it. So go ahead and take a look at that. Go ahead and use it. We are a private company. I kept my company private for a good reason, because I want to do more in this. I'm moving into the youth sports now, and so I just work with other organizations. I'm not trying to be the big person on the campus, but our software is the best of the best. And so I want you guys to feel free to use it if you need it. But our goal is the same it's always been. How do we make sure that your experience in the youth sports going up from 5 to 17, how do we make that the best it can be for your kid and give them, and we're going to leverage that to go on and have a remarkable life. That's it. That's our whole saying, our motto, whatever you want to call it. Leverage youth sports so that it can lead you on to a remarkable life. All right, guys, best of luck to you guys in everything you're doing. The new school year is here. I'm very excited. I got a bunch of stuff to tell you guys on how to kind of move at the high school level. And then I'm going to introduce you guys to some of the cool stuff we're doing at the youth sports level. That's that 5 to 12 age group. We've got some cool stuff that's built into AthleticSOS. You guys won't see it at the high school level, but we're working with some groups at the youth level, and we're excited about that too. And we're just moving forward. I'm having a great time with this. We are changing lives, which keeps me motivated to do this. And so we'll just keep on moving forward. All right, guys. Best of luck to you in everything you do. Bye.